Hello, peeps and creeps, and welcome to the Fright Club. I'm Gav, he's Danny.
Hello.
We are the Fright Club NI, and this is a brand new episode of Monday Night Frights. On tonight's show, we're talking about the creepy,
The cookie.
mysterious,
And spooky.
they're all together,
Ookie. The Addams
Addams
Family.
Children, what are you doing?
I'm going to electrocute him.
But we're late for the charity auction.
But, Mother...
I said no.
Please?
Oh, all right.
And we're back with episode 6.5 of Monday Night Frights, being joined by a very special guest tonight. It is the regular contributor to www.frightclubni.com, Miss Victoria Brown.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi. Thanks for coming on, Victoria. You have been on the channel before, whenever we interviewed Kim Newman.
Yes, that was an experience.
It was an experience. It was an enjoyable experience. Nervous as well, but very enjoyable. And it's great to have you actually on to one of our episodes where we can sort of chill out and relax and talk about a film that we all love.
Have a good catch. Here, Gav.
What?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold the phone.
Hold the bus. I thought I'd seen this. I thought I had seen this.
Daniel, no.
I don't think I'd seen this before.
Daniel, I'm revoking your
I've
card.
definitely seen clips from this, but watching it again, I was like, I don't remember any of this.
You've never seen the Addams Family?
No, either I watched it really young and I have just completely blanked it, or I'd never seen. I'd definitely seen clips. There was clips that happened. And I was like, no, I know that bit, but the overall story and stuff, I was like, what the fuck? I do not remember any of this. So I don't think I'd seen it before. So it was actually quite nice coming back to it and then being like, oh, okay.
That is interesting. I had no idea. I just assumed you seen it.
I also, in the back of my mind, was like, of course I've seen Addams Family, but then watching it, I was like, I don't.
What is this?
What's going on? Maybe I am Uncle Fester.
You've been caught in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? You've probably seen the sequel, maybe. Values.
Again, now I'm doubting that I've even seen that. Now I'm kind of
Fuck's sake.
Have I seen Addams Family Values?
You're bound to have.
You have to.
I don't know anymore.
You're more of a Tim Curry man, so you've probably seen the third one.
Tim Curry.
Oh my goodness.
Which we don't really talk about. There's a third one, which we don't really talk about. But
I don't. You know what? I think I maybe just am an Addams Family virgin. And just maybe I just need to go back through them again and be like, okay, no, I've definitely seen this one. But yeah, watching this for this.
And you just watched it today or yesterday?
Yesterday. I watched it yesterday in preparation for this. So I do know what I'm talking about today.
Yeah.
But if you had asked me to talk about it before yesterday, I would have probably been like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I'm glad you actually decided to watch it for this episode.
I always watch the movies for
I did watch it. I just watched it literally a couple hours ago, so hopefully it's fresh. Hopefully it's fresh in my mind. Victoria, you watched it a few hours ago as well?
Yep.
Good. You said to me that you'd watched it about 100 times anyway, so you're pretty good. You're pretty good with this topic. So yes, we're talking about the Addams Family, the original film from 1991, which stars, obviously iconic Raul Julia, and as Gomez, and of course Angelica Houston as Morticia. Probably the role that everybody remembers her for. I mean, she's a fantastic actress who's done loads of great films, but if somebody said to me Angelica Houston, I go Morticia Addams. Isn't that right? I can't really think of any other film that would take that role. I can't anyway. It's for me, she's always Morticia. And she's fucking amazing as Morticia. But the reason why we're talking about this is because on a Wednesday night we're talking about this.
I wonder why. Why
Destiny.
we possibly talk about it on a Wednesday night?
When this goes out in the future, because this is the past, the week after this, or maybe 2 weeks after this, because I've got my dates mixed up potentially. No, November the 23rd. there's a brand new Addams Family TV show coming to Netflix, which is going to focus on Wednesday, who's one of the best characters, let's be honest, starring Jenna Ortega, and Morticia and Gomez are in it, and the other family members are in it, but it's going to focus on her. I think she's at college. Is that right? It's definitely her, obviously being an older girl.
I think it's like a late teenage boarding school kind of situation.
Okay, right. Okay, so did see the trailer, but I didn't really want to read too much into, because I'm trying to stop doing that now. Because you get a lot of spoilers and stuff, so I want things to be fresh and new. But yes, so that's coming out in a couple of weeks. So we thought, why not talk about the Addams Family, because it ties in. And also, I know you were a big fan, Victoria, so we wanted to get you on to chat about this. Before we get into the show, when did you see it first, and why do you love it, and what is it about this that kind of stuck with you, and etc.?
Well, when I was younger, like, I didn't watch this version until I was like 10 or 11. My first Addams Family was actually the Cartoon Network version.
Okay.
Do you remember when you were a kid and you would like record a film on VHS? My mum would just let the whole tape run through, so you've got about 3 hours of cartoons after.
Brilliant.
And it was great. But one of the ones that we had was like 4 episodes of the cartoon, and I was obsessed with it because one of them did focus on Wednesday. It was about like her little headless doll that she has.
Class.
And it was about her losing that and kind of coming to terms with losing her childhood doll and all. But I didn't know there was like a real life version until I was much older. And I just fell in love with it. Like, my family are big Tim Burton fans, and it does have the similar kind of spooky vibes. So yeah, we watched it quite a lot.
Good. Yeah, I think I didn't see it in the cinema. I'm actually old enough. You probably weren't alive when it came out, but I didn't see it in the cinema, but I definitely caught it on VHS probably a year or two after it came out, and I loved it because I just love spooky shit, and I loved it because it was a family film, so it wasn't horror, but it was about horror stuff, the macabre and gothic and all that kind of stuff, and it was really relatable to me because I just love all that shit, and I really loved the performances. I thought it was quite funny. Watching it as an adult, it's maybe, the humor doesn't really land, obviously, but it's definitely more of a sort of kiddie movie. But I still love it now, and even watching it today for this, for my research, Danny, as research.
He loves his research.
I was just like, oh, this is so good, and like, just, I don't know, the characters are really rich and memorable, and obviously well written, and their characters based on cartoons that were created by Charles Addams back in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, Victoria.
Yeah.
Good. Just correct me if I get any of this shit wrong. So 1930s-esque. I think he sort of created these characters. I think when he created them, they were very one-dimensional, obviously, because they didn't have, their cartoons. They didn't have the personality that happened in the TV show, which was the 60s, 1964, which then expanded the characters, kind of created the characters that we know and love today. But it's funny you mentioned about Tim Burton, because Tim Burton was supposed to direct this back in 1991. He was the first director that was. It wasn't. I don't think he was officially hired, but he was definitely contacted, and he wanted to do it, but unfortunately he had to pass because he was in the process of making Batman Returns, or post-production. I'm not exactly sure of the timeline, but he was involved with that, so he didn't have time to do this, and the studios really wanted to get it out pretty quickly. They weren't really willing to wait because they had just bought, I think they had bought the rights. I think it's Paramount Film. They bought the rights from Fox, so there was a lot of money invested into it, and that's a good segue, Danny, to the figures.
Oh my God, we're going to segue into the figure, but forget the figures. Just on your point about how, like, this is something, even though I said I don't actually think I'd seen this movie before watching it for this, I think that I thought I had seen it, because for me, the Addams Family like I'm nostalgic for the Addams Family, even though I haven't seen the film. Like Victoria, like you, I watched the Cartoon Network cartoon series of it, and you always kind of know, and we all know the theme song. Like the theme song is such like an integral part of like everybody knows that if you go da-na-na-na, you have to do the click, and it just like I feel like everybody has a bit of nostalgia for the Addams Family, which is why I think I saw the film, even though I'm pretty sure now, well, I have seen it now, but I hadn't before yesterday. So I think that's where it's all kind of ingrained. We have the Addams Family in our DNA. And I think what this film really captured for me, as you said, Gav, it's the macabre, it's the design of the whole thing is excellent. It's very Burton-esque, it's very gothic. You've got lovely wee like the set dressings are fantastic. I love in Uncle Fester's room, there's like a team flag for Alcatraz as well. It's all those little details the whole way through it, and the paintings and just everything that really ties it all together. And for anyone who is a fan of Burton, who's a fan of Gothic, who's a fan of all that stuff, you can't help but love it. And I feel that for like this type of movie, we all have that nostalgic thing for it. And I think even movies that come after this that try to capture that same feel, they don't quite get. The likes of Casper, when it came out, you know, the live action Casper, it tries to capture that same feel. And whilst I have a nostalgia for Casper, it doesn't hold up as well as this does, you know.
I think because the Addams Family it's part of the zeitgeist, you know, it's in pop culture. I spoke about, you know, Angelica Houston being, you know, very much this, she is Morticia. Julio very much is Gomez Addams. You know, I know he was M. Bison in Street Fighter, but you know, he's Gomez Addams, and also he was a great theatrical actor on stage, and one of the first roles I think he played on stage in the US was Dracula. So Victoria, go and Google that. Yes.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. He's a very handsome chap. And even when I was watching it, Janine was kind of watching it in and out with me, and every time he came on screen, she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Here, calm you down, love." But no, I don't mind. It's fair enough. He's lovely. So
I'd be angry at her for that.
I know, but no ways. It's in the zeitgeist. Like everybody knows Fester, everybody knows Cousin even you know Lurch. Everybody knows these characters. The thing. Oh, so yeah, it's just there. It's always been there. You're right, Danny. And
plus the theme song works for anybody's name. Gav Logan, Victoria B, Danny Brown, Danny Brown, Danny Brown.
there you go.
Like,
classic.
that's my favorite thing. It's to do people's names to the Addams Family theme song. It makes me really happy.
Oh, you're a simple child, Danny.
Well,
So yeah, so it's always been there, but we will talk about the figures and then a little bit about the production, and then we'll go into the movie and talk about some of our favorite scenes and stuff. Money wise, actually the budget was originally about 25 million, but it went over budget. There was a lot of issues with production in the beginning. It went to about 30 million in budget, but it did take 191 million at the box office, which is fucking mental
That's
for a
mad.
movie in 1991. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that percentage is. Work it out real quick, Danny.
I
No.
can't math.
It's very good. It's a very good increase in revenue for a film that they thought they thought was going to be successful, but they were really worried in the beginning because they didn't think they'd be able to get it, you know, the budget for it, and because it was at a point where they were thinking of scrapping it, and I think that's when away at the beginning, I think that's where the transition was made between two different studios or something. So it's a strange one, but as I said, Tim Burton was supposed to direct it. He bailed before it got out, the production got underway. I would have liked to have seen his vision of it. I know we're going to see the Wednesday stuff, but I feel like, did you ever watch Dark Shadows, the film that he did based on the TV show Dark Shadows? I feel like he did that because he didn't get to do this. And I'm guessing, I don't know who was, if they'd cast the film before he decided to leave, but I can guess who would have been in the film. Well, 1991, hang on, no, would he have been in it? Johnny Depp probably would have been in it.
Yeah.
somewhere. I'm sure he would have appeared somewhere. He might have been too young for Gomez, but
Imagine it was Fester.
Oh God.
no. Well, he does love his wee dark eyes, doesn't he, Johnny Depp? He could have been a decent Fester. But anyway, it's good to think about what if, you know. And there was also a time, I think in 2010 or 2012, when he was attached to another movie. I think it was a movie or TV show. No, it was a stop motion movie, an Addams Family version of a stop motion movie. And I don't know how far it got, if there was scripts written or whatever, but he was attached to it, and then it got cancelled as well. So this is clearly something close to his heart, and I'm kind of glad that he's now got a chance to visit that world. And if you've seen the trailer for Wednesday or seen any pictures, it also stars Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia, who looks great. I have to say, she does look great. And Luz Guzman as Gomez, who looks great as well. Now, a lot of people were giving him a bit of stick online because he doesn't quite have that, shall we say, handsome look to him, but he does kind of look like the original, drawings from way back in the 30s, and that's what Tim Burton wants. He's kind of going back to the Charles Addams cartoons, and I think Guzman will be great. So I'm really excited, and also Gwendolyn Christie's in it as well. I don't know who she's playing though. She's might be playing one of the teachers, but we love a bit of Gwendolyn Christie. So anyway, it was direct. So after Tim Burton left, the production company hired Barry Sonnenfeld, who hadn't directed a feature film before this, which is, that's risky. Risky whenever you're also at a point where you're thinking, fuck, I don't even know if this project is going to make any money, so let's just hire somebody.
Massive risk.
Yeah, somebody who hasn't made a feature film before. But I think he did a pretty good job. He would go on to make the sequel as well. And he also made Men in Black and Wild Wild West and Get Shorty and lots of okay movies, like not great movies, but decent movies that made a lot of money.
How dare you say anything bad about the Wicked Wicked Wild West?
Wiggity Wiggity Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
I know.
How dare you?
Oh my god. What an awful film. Get Shorty was pretty good.
Men in Black's great.
Men in Black's great.
The
first one's really good. Yeah, directed by Al Barry, and then it was written by two writers that have worked with Tim Burton before. Laurie Wilson, who wrote Beetlejuice, and Caroline Thompson, who wrote A Nightmare Before Christmas, and Edward Scissorhands, and Corpse Bride. So she's a great screenwriter. So I think they were on board quite early, like even potentially before Barry was hired as the director. But there was loads of rewrites. This is one of the films that in the 90s that got quite a lot of different rewrites, and the finished film was very different from their first script. It's particularly the ending, which we'll get into a wee bit later on in the episode. Did any of you guys watch the show? Now, obviously, you didn't watch the show. You aren't that old, as I'm not old either. But like, I've obviously watched episodes. I say rewatched them quite recently. Well, a couple months ago on YouTube or whatever. And it's fucking brilliant. I love the old show. Do you watch the show, or you didn't watch any of the show, Danny?
No, not the OG one. No.
Come on, Victoria.
Oh yeah, like as soon as I saw they were on YouTube, I was like, "That's my day sorted."
It's so good. It's really, really good.
I'll have to get on it.
I know. I mean, it's very, if you like that or the Monster. I mean, it and the Monsters were out at the same time. Basically the same, kind of vibe.
They get cancelled at the same time, because I know the Monsters ran for 2 seasons and then they got kicked off the air because they were on the same network as Batman, and that just tanked them in the ratings. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming something similar happened to the Addams Family.
Yeah, actually, I think it was within a day of each other. I'd read that on the internet today, researching. It was within a day or two, because I was reading stuff about the similarities between the shows and the cast, how the cast said that they weren't that similar. Come on, wise up. Of course they were. But the similarities were so close that they were literally cancelled within a day or two of each other, which is really weird.
Like, you can't imagine that happening now, like, can you?
It's weird, but sure Netflix cancels everything. There'll be one fucking season on Wednesday, and then they'll cancel it.
Don't jinx it.
No, actually, in fact, they'll probably announce it that it's cancelled before it starts. That's what they do. But it's okay because I don't mind shows that just run for like one season. I don't see this obsession where shows have to run for like 3 or 4 seasons. Sometimes things can just be 6 episodes or 10 episodes, and that's it. And it just feels like a start and a finish, and that's it. You know, sometimes that works better because you've got a finish in mind. Yeah, we talked about the budget being 30 million because it ran over. I mean, it was clearly filmed in a studio. Obviously, you've got the locations. It looks great. The film looks great. The house is amazing. You spoke about the set design and all there, Danny.
Yeah.
The set
Set
designs
design,
are
set
great.
dressing, incredible. Yep.
The costumes are all fucking fantastic. The lighting's pretty good. It's not as dark as a Tim Burton film, or it doesn't have that, you know, it's not quite as gothy as a Tim Burton film, but I love the lighting, particularly on Gomez and Morticia mostly, you know, during her scenes.
Oh, that bit whenever you first see them and they're in the bedroom and she's lying on the bed and they've got that light just across the eyes and the light's just across Gomez's eyes and you're just like, film noir.
I know it's pretty much.
I'm near sure from when I was doing my own research, they used like a similar technique to how they lit Bela Lugosi's eyes in Dracula and White Zombie. I'm near sure they used, if not the same technique, something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's a bit of a homage, late tribute to Bela Lugosi. Yeah, definitely. You know, just the eyes sort of shining up, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And Angelica Houston is stunning. Like, how gorgeous is she in this film? Amazing. I'm allowed to say that because Janine was getting moist over Howl Julia. So the basic plot, we all know the plot. Danny, you didn't because you hadn't seen the movie, for fuck's sake.
I thought I knew. I did not know. I, in fact, did not know the Addams Family movie plot. But then I did. I learned it and I had a good time with it. I really enjoyed it.
It's another what if because I love the movie and I still love it now. And I would say me and Janine were talking about how this was made like 31 years ago. It was released 31 years ago, which is mad. But like it still holds up. It doesn't look like a film that was made 30 odd years ago. Apart from The Thing, there is a few scenes where The Thing looks a bit dodge. And obviously at the end it's a bit dodge, but that's okay.
The Thing for me, I thought like they put all the special effects budget into Thing because I thought actually Thing looked pretty good. Like things scuttling about and all that there. I thought that was excellent. It's the golf ball flying towards the window looks dog shit. And the tornado in the room and it's just clear it's like a still of them being whipped around and you're just like that doesn't hold up. No. But I thought the Thing's special effects actually were really decent for the time and still actually hold up all right now.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like there was a couple of frames where it was like, you know, it looks quite bad, but I think for the most part you're right. Yeah, it does hold up, and I like the end. I like the sort of shitty effects. It kind of adds to the silliness of the story. You know, I mean, you have it. There's a sequence in the story where whenever they lose the house, they all have to go get jobs, and Thing is a fucking. He's working. He's a post boy basically in a fucking office, but everyone's just like, oh, just random hand. You know, it just doesn't matter because it's just a silly thing. So, I think that adds to the silliness. But I would love to see this cast and this production. I would love to have seen something different for the story because I do like the story. But then in the sequel, the sequel is Danny, you haven't seen the sequel, but basically they focus on Fester, who meets a woman and basically who's a gold digger essentially, right? What?
I know that much.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do know that he's, but it's probably one of those things that like I know because it's a pop culture thing, but do I actually know?
And you've seen images and videos and stuff and clips and stuff.
Yeah.
Joan Cusack's amazing in the sequel.
Oh, she's brilliant.
She's fucking brilliant, isn't she? So anyway, she's a bit of a gold digger, blah blah blah. But they focus on Fester in this one, and I don't know. I would like to have seen a different story, because because I think the story is a bit stupid, isn't it? Really, because actually in the original script, you probably seen this, Victoria, if you were doing research too. In the original script, he was supposed to be an imposter. He
Mhm.
wasn't supposed to be the real Fester. That was never part of it until they started production.
Mhm.
And I think some of the actors actually kind of persuaded the director to change the ending and be
Christina
like,
Ricci, apparently she felt like an imposter just wouldn't sit right with the family. But I would have preferred if he was an imposter, because then it shows like how they welcome people into the family. Like it did feel a bit cheap.
but would you prefer Fester, the real Fester, showing up then in the end? Because they would have had to have like a happy ending.
Hmm.
Like
Interesting.
maybe if they found out that he was the imposter and then the real Fester showed up and they had Christopher Lloyd play him as well, and it was that sort of like, you could have that sort of Terminator 2 moment where it's two Sarah Connors, only he's not holding a gun, he's just like holding a light bulb or something in his mouth, and they're like, who's the real Fester, you know?
I did have expect like the real Fester turn up in a Hawaiian shirt, like
Oh,
Aladdin style,
it would have
just
been
like
great.
Disney cap on, Aladdin,
Yeah.
The Hawaiian shirt. Like
Where
that's
have
what
you
I
been all
kind of
these
thought was
years?
gonna. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought was gonna happen. But then as it plays out, you kind of know, you're like, no, this is actually Fester, and yeah, I did. Yeah, I sort of thought that was going to happen, but you know what, I still enjoyed it for someone who actually hadn't seen it before. I was like, I'm having a good time, and I like when you get to see that kind of turnaround where they think it's an imposter, but then it actually turns out that he's not, and he's starting to. It's all coming back to him. I like, and I like a
Yeah,
sweet little relationship with the kids and stuff.
yeah,
That
that's
I'm like,
brilliant. Yeah,
this is nice.
it's
Also, Christina Ricci, just fucking, she's Wednesday
yeah.
Addams.
Well, I mean, again, you know, she is Wednesday Addams. If anyone said to me Christina Ricci, I would just automatically think Wednesday Addams, and she's been in loads of films over the years and been nominated for all these awards and had a pretty decent career, ups and downs, but you know, she's still remembered as being Wednesday Addams. I think she's fantastic in this, and like I think she was only 10 or 11 in this, but like she steals every scene she's in, and she shows a maturity that you don't often see. Well, I suppose nowadays you kind of do, because I mean, child actors nowadays are just like crazy actors. But kind of back in those days, you know, you didn't often see child actors be so good. Danny, I'm going to put you in the spot.
Oh,
What was since this was your first time seeing it, what was your favorite moment in the film?
my favorite moment. Oh, I loved it when Cousin It turned up, because I was watching from the start and I was like, where the fuck's Cousin It? Like, when's Cousin It coming into this? And then when Cousin It showed up, I was like, hey! I also love, there's that fantastic moment where Uncle Fester, Christopher Lloyd, steps out of his bedroom for the first time, and it's across the hall from Wednesday's room, and she's standing in the doorway, and they kind of have that stare off. And I loved like that wee moment of like, she's the first one to kind of twig on that not everything is as it seems. And he kind of, yeah, they're just staring at each other, and he closes the door. And when he opens the door again, she's gone. Her bedroom door is closed with the wee voodoo doll hanging off the door handle. And I just really I like that, just that wee quiet moment between the two, and to have, the way she's just so solemn looking, and Christopher Lloyd is so like, whoo, in that moment. I just love that. I thought that was a great way moment.
I love that description.
That's a Christopher
That's
Lloyd
a
thing to
very
do,
good
right?
summary of
That
his character, to be
sound
fair.
should just be in the dictionary. That should be a descriptive word
Just that
going
noise
forward.
with the descriptive noise with picture of Christopher Lloyd beside it, and we'll go, yep,
Just a wee sound bite. So anything else you want to big up? Any other scenes or anything?
I want to pick up. You know what I really love? I've already kind of talked about like the set design and set dressing and stuff, but the graveyard, the Addams Family graveyard, and all those we kind of like effigy tomb headstones. I love all those, and I love just the fact that they're like little Play-Doh people that are like shaped into how they died. I love that, and I love the wordplay in this, and I love how there's just a lot to love about it. I really enjoyed watching a film that I thought I had seen, but apparently hadn't seen, but still feeling like a real nice warmth and like, oh, like I don't think I have watched this, but I still have that nostalgic warmth for it. I think that was
Would you say Cousin It would be your favorite character then? Because that was the first thing you mentioned.
yeah, I think there's always that kind of thing. I just like the wee hairy creature with the hat, it really does it for me when they put the glasses on too. That's just even better. But I don't know, I think as well Uncle Fester, and I think it's because as I've got older, I'm turning into Uncle Fester. That I think I also have a lot of love for Fester too.
I was expecting you to come on here with the big black eyes.
Just
To be honest,
I should have done. I should have
Should've-
messed with me and been like fucking wax some eye makeup on. I would have been like, okay, just walking around.
light bulbs.
Then we just don't acknowledge it.
I know, just no sell it completely. Right. So Victoria, then, what would be your favorite moments of the film and your favorite character?
It's hard to pick like one moment because a lot of the dialogue is so quirky and silly. Like the bit where Morticia goes upstairs and she's looking for stuff for the charity auction, and she's like, Uncle Nick Nack's summer wardrobe,
Yes.
Uncle Nick Nack's winter wardrobe, Uncle Nick Nack.
Yeah, it's amazing because they all look the same, don't they? That's the best thing, is it's a very visual gag as well because they all look the same. They all look like
It's
human
so clever.
humans.
And
Yep.
like it would go over your head as a kid because that's quite dark.
Definitely.
Because they approach it with such a light, like whimsical manner, you don't really think of it like that. Favorite scene? I think it's just before the ball where they're going up the stairs. It's very gothic, and Gomez and Morticia waltz, and there's a bit where Angelica Houston like leans behind herself and like pulls the sheet, and then it kind of transitions to the ball, and just the way that's framed, and it's such a great shot.
Yeah.
I think Morticia would have to be my favorite now that I think about it. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, it would have been Wednesday, but now it's Morticia.
She has some absolute zingers in this movie. Like there's that bit where she's saying about Gomez not being the way he used to be, and she goes, and he's been coughing up blood, and the neighbor's like, he's coughing up blood. It's like, but not the way he used to.
Hello.
That killed me, like absolutely killed me.
Is there not a line later on when she's trying to get a job and she's talking to it's not an interview, but it's like a like one of those job seeking places, and the girl's like, oh, and what about your husband? Does he work? No, he's between things. And then is he a loafer, and is he this and that? And she's like, it's basically the same sort of vibe where she's like, not like he was before, or sadly not, or something like that. She's brilliant. Like her lines, the way she delivers her lines are just so like, well, deadpan's the wrong word, but you know what I mean? Like it's like she no sells them, if you know what I mean. And it's just she's fucking great, man.
The Hansel and Gretel, reading the Hansel and Gretel story to the primary school kids.
That's brilliant
as well. It killed me. Absolutely killed me.
It's just so sincere. I think that's what I love about it. Like the Addams Family have no idea that they come across as weird because that's just how they are.
Yeah,
a lot of the humor comes from that.
Yeah, that's their normal way of life, basically.
Yeah.
I think my favorite character in this film, and this is going to be controversial. Now, I'm just talking about this film. I'm not talking about the lore of the Addams Family. It isn't even one of the family members. My favorite character is Dr. Pinderschlush.
Oh, God. I was hoping you would say Lurch or something.
No. I fucking love. Now, obviously, that's a character that I can't remember the other. Is it Craven? Somebody Craven? Abigail, is it? Is the lady? Is the lady's name? But when she comes in, that first scene where she comes in and introduces herself with Fester as Dr. Pinderschluss is fucking amazing. Like that was the best scene in the whole film in terms of like humor wise. Her overacting and her like is she supposed to be German?
Yeah.
Or
the way the
Austrian.
camera zooms in as well.
Supposed to be like a Freud-esque.
She's exactly. She's sort of that kind of. You're right. That kind of character. I just think she's so over the top, and it's fucking a great performance. She's amazing, and she's my favorite of the whole film. In terms of Addams Family, I would probably go. I really love Wednesday for obvious reasons. We spoke about her briefly before. Like just her performance is amazing, and she steals every scene she's in. But I do love Grandmama as well, just because she doesn't have a lot of time on screen. She's always like in the background cooking, or you see her, like she's just out of frame, or she's just in the background or something. But I just love just the little lines that she has. Where there's one line where she's cooking in the background, she pulls out the skeleton hand, and like it's just so stupid, but it's a really great performance.
She kind of reminds me, like I could see Natasha Lyonne playing her in like 30 years.
I'm not joking. Janine literally said that to me while we were watching it. She was just like, "Oh, that's the girl from Russian Doll," and
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that.
Orange is the New Black. No, absolutely. Like, she's definitely said that to me before, and I can definitely see her playing Grandmama. Not even 30 years, I would say 5 or 10 years.
I do have a question. So, is Grandmama Morticia's mother? Because I was wondering, like, are her and Gomez like really distant cousins or something? Because the way she talks about the family, because she's obviously married in, but she knows so much history and she's so passionate.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well, sure, because whenever they're going through the graveyard, whenever Morticia takes Fester through the graveyard, and then they're at the parents, the Mama Addams and Papa Addams, their grave is the two of them on the chariot. So they must be dead. And
but I thought she was the granny. I thought she was a granny. I don't think she's.
Does Morticia not address her as Mama at one point?
She calls her Mama. But I'm almost certain she's a granny of some sort.
Right.
I will check that. I will check that before.
We need to do a Addams Family tree deep dive. We do.
Here. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Actually,
make sure there's no Game of Thrones shit going on.
Legitimately, the only time it's crossed my mind, because I was kind of thinking when she was going through the graveyard with Esther, she knew so much detail about all these family members and how they died. I'm like, I have no idea about my partner's family. Like, I barely know my own family, never mind his. So I was curious.
I'm gonna actually have a wee quick look there just to make sure, but I don't think she is her mother, but I could be wrong. Relationships. Hang on. Keep talking about stuff there while I make it look like I'm doing something.
I love it. One bit in the graveyard that made me laugh when her and Gomez are sitting together and they're doing their big passionate like declarations of love, and then they're clearly having sex, and it's just cutting to all these ridiculously shaped like grave markers.
I know.
Yeah, it's
as a kid it goes over your head, but now you're like
there's something to that. It's the graveyard to what I assume is Coke is there. There's like the top of a Coke bottle with another little Coke bottle sitting on top of it, and I was like, is that some subtle product placement, or is it the death of commercial? Like, I was like, what does that mean? Like, why is there a Coke bottle in the ground? I don't know. I noticed that in there too.
A bit where I thought was like a plug for an ad. It's when Wednesday and Pugsley are selling their lemonade and Lurch takes a drink, because behind him there's a big pizza billboard. But the way it's shot, it shows like I can't remember which company it is, but I was like,
It's called Tombstone Pizza.
Is it?
Tombstone Pizza. It's not a real. Well, I don't know if maybe it's real, but that jumped out to me as well. Actually,
it is real.
Actually that bit where they're selling lemonade is great too. When the wee Girl Scout comes up and is like, "Oh, is it made with real lemons?" And it's like, "Do you want to buy my Girl Scout cookies?" And Wednesday's like, "Oh, is it made with real Girl Scouts?" That's
one of the best lines. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was one of the best lines in the whole film. But what made it is the wee girl's reaction. She literally just sort of goes and walks off and says nothing, and she's great. She turns up in the second film as well.
So I was gonna say, I always forget she's in the first one.
Yes.
She's a tiny role, and then her and Wednesday are like arch enemies in the second one.
Yep.
So I'm glad they brought her back, because she's fantastic.
She's amazing. She's just that wee look. Oh Jesus, that was great. So the family tree, Grandmama is now. The family tree that I'm looking at is Gomez's mother. Now I know we talked about how Morticia said Papa and Mama Addams were dead. But yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows their actual real answer, I think it's supposed to be very vague anyway. But if you know the definitive answer, please leave it in the comments below.
In the comments, or send us a picture on Twitter of your hand drawn Addams Family tree.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Please do.
Please do that. Take time and draw it, and then
Draw the
send it
whole
to us,
thing.
and we'll repost
Intricate
it.
Gothic artwork.
Yeah, everything. Some of my favorite scenes. I loved that wee line that you mentioned, Danny, about the wee girl and the lemonade. But there's a real simple scene early on when Fester arrives at the house, and he goes up to his bedroom, and he lies in his bed, and he just sinks into his bed. That's it. That's it. That's the scene. He
You're
just
very easily pleased.
he's just like this, and he just sinks into the bed, and it was just fucking brilliant.
I
Very
see him after
visual,
that.
a visual gag,
Whenever
but it was
Thing
brilliant.
crawls into the room,
Yep.
and then you hear the screaming, and Morticia and Gomez are going, "Oh, he's screaming in the night. He's back home."
Yeah.
And then whenever Gomez goes into him the next morning, it's like his hand lying, and then Thing lying
Yeah.
below his hand, and I was just like, that fucking hand was hanging out in his bedroom too long that night.
I know.
But
He
I
slept
love
well.
Thing too.
He eventually
Uh,
slept well,
I
but
love Thing.
that was a
Thing's
great wee scene. One of my other favorite scenes was whenever they eventually go down to the vault. So they go down this slide, and then they go to the other room, and Gomez is like searching for stuff. I don't know if you remember this scene, but he's searching for stuff in like a box, and he gets like a baseball bat, and something moves, but he's humming. He's like humming like, and he still hums while he's beating this thing, and that always stuck with me. I don't know why, but in the background, Fester accidentally opens the bottle of whiskey, whatever it is, and the room turns around and he sees all the money, and then it comes back eventually. But just that wee scene where he's beating the rat, and then they go down to the vault. They go down in the wee boat, and it looks like fucking something out of Lord of the Rings. But it's a map. It's a map painting. So, oh, Danny, we love our map paintings.
We do love a good map painting.
We do love
Mhm.
a nice
All
map
about them.
painting. But as they get closer, so it's a big wide shot, and you see them moving across, and it's a lovely big map painting. And then as they get closer to the vault, it's still a map painting, and then it just changes to a set location. But I just thought, I love it. Very simple scene, but I love all that shit. And then, of course, one of the greatest scenes, Mamushka,
Yes.
the dance. We can't not talk about the dance. Completely random, but just amazing. Like, just a real fun scene, and it's nice to see, because Gomez had been questioning Fester, his legitimacy up until this point, and then obviously it came around where Fester did the dance and all, and it was a great moment. And it just, Raul Julio just shines as well, because he's infectious, and he's just a lovely handsome man, and he looked rather dashing in his get up. So yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes. But one of the best things about that scene is when they're throwing the knives to each other, and there's a bit of a wide shot, and you can clearly see that it's just completely two random guys. Like they've went to a little bit of effort and give the stuntman a wee bit of a moustache and give the other guy like a ball cap, but it's clearly two completely different actors, and it's amazing. I love that. I love that sort of silliness. But yeah, that was just some of my favorite scenes.
I love the names they do for the Mamushka, because they're like, we did it for Nero, we did it at Waterloo, and then he's like, we danced it for Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
So much.
I know. And now we're going to dance for you. I love all those little references that they put in. No, that was great. I will say as well, like, going back to the Tim Burton stuff, the score for the film is very, very Danny Elfman-esque. It's not Danny Elfman, but it's by a guy called Mark Shaman, who did loads of stuff. But I feel like he was evoking his inner Elfman. Do you think so? For me, anyway, it felt very much like a Beetlejuice type vibe to it. The score, it's particularly not obviously the theme, the Addams Family theme, but the theme for this film.
I'm surprised they didn't actually. That's one of the things I was kind of waiting for, was the actual proper theme, like the theme song.
Mhm.
But it doesn't actually really happen.
It happens at the very
it's
start
got-
in the opening
yeah,
scene.
it's got like the musical to it. But I was
Yeah.
waiting for the lyrics, and then they never happened. I was like,
What do you
is
mean?
this? And
Is
then
the MC Hammer song not the actual theme?
I was like, when that happened, I was like, it's fucking 90s nonsense. But
This was a 7, but now it's a 9 and a 9.5.
yeah, I was like, what is this? What's
Danny,
going
it was the
on?
90s.
I know.
You,
It's to be
had to have.
expected. It's
I
to
know.
be expected.
Like, what was the film we talked about?
What was
That
it?
had it was an Elm Street film, wasn't it?
Um,
That had like a pure hip hop over the credits.
yeah, was it Dream Child?
I don't know. It was one of the ones. Yeah, it might have been Dream Child actually.
I think Dream Child had a hip hop beat over the end, which again you're kind of like, huh?
I know.
What?
Very much of its time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
But I remember the song actually. I'm pretty sure I got it on tape or whatever. One of my brothers probably got it actually on tape. And just being like, it was massive. It was like a big thing back in the day. You were so cool if you had this tape. MC Hammer with his big fucking baggy trousers and all. But fair play to him. It was actually a pretty good sort of adaptation of the song. But yeah, because I knew it wasn't Danny Elfman that did the score. But the whole way through the film, whenever the music started coming up, and it just had that vibe to it, and I was like, this is definitely. I know it's not Danny Elfman, but it's definitely, he's pretty much. I wouldn't say he's ripped him off, but it just had that
Danny
vibe.
Elfman light.
Yeah, basically. And then I went after, was like, I have to see who this is, and it was like, oh, it's not Danny Elfman, it's Mark Shaman. But yeah, fair play. It's a really catchy sort of score.
What's with the song when they're going down the slide to the vault?
Yeah,
like that sequence where they're like going down the slide and there's just this mad song playing and they're kind of like switching places as they go down the slide and they're going backwards and they're going forwards, and I was just like, this is like, what, like
I know, it's so random, isn't it?
Happening? Yeah.
It was the 90s, Danny. Come on.
It was the start at the time.
This whole film and just say it was the 90s.
Basically. Exactly. It should have started. The film should have started with a text saying it was the 90s, and that was it basically. But no, a very great film. Nostalgia for me because I saw it when it was out, and you were saying even though you hadn't seen it, Danny, you could feel the nostalgia because
nostalgic vibes.
Because it's one of those films that has lived, and it's still it's still about in terms of like it's aged well.
People love it, and I don't think people will stop showing it.
I think
to younger generations.
No, I think very much in the same vein as Hocus Pocus. That not perfect. It's got flaws, and you can pick out some dodgy stuff that's happening and whatnot or whatever. But it is a film that people will pass on to their kids and their nieces and nephews, and it does. It's aged quite well, I think. Anyway, there's nothing like really bad in it that you can go, oh fuck, that's really dodge. Apart from MC Hammer's song at the end, but I think it's. And also, I want to mention actually Tully, who is fantastic in this. A great actor in general. I think his name's Dan. I can't remember his surname.
Yeah, I prefer the wife.
The wife's great as well.
She's great. Yeah. That's when they're on the balcony together, and she's just like, he's just not the man he used to be.
I know.
I don't know how they got her hair to stay like that.
I know.
Impressive.
It is a real hair, I'm guessing. It's not a wig. Because I've seen her in other things, and she sort of plays that similar sort of character. I don't know whether that it's just her personality or like the charisma she has on screen, but she's great. I think she's in Home Alone 2 as well. She's one of the people that work in the hotel in Home Alone 2. There you go. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, isn't she? She's got that face, and she's got that just sort of. She looks like a teacher or something. Mm-hmm. But she's a great actress. But Dan Hedaya, I think is the surname. Hedaya, I probably pronounced it wrong. Who else is in this that's good?
I think
everybody's good.
Turn.
Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fucking flora and fauna are even good. You only see them at the ball, but obviously they're mentioned earlier in the video. The old home movies that you see. But like they're cool as well, and I love that. I love seeing like the ball's great because you get to see all these other weird characters. There's the guy who's like got a hunchback and like
love the Addams.
Yeah, all the other and like the band and all are weird looking and stuff. So I actually would love to
It's
see
the
more of
conductor,
that.
the
big weird,
massive like handlebar mustache and all,
Really?
I know.
and the mutton chops.
Great,
Mhm.
great film. Yeah, I loved it. It was great rewatching it again. It's actually been a while since I'd seen it, but it is definitely the best. Well, actually, do you know what? I was going to say it's the best of the three, but I don't know. The sequel's really good.
So what you're saying is we have to go watch Addams Family Values
Yes.
next and talk about that next season and have Victoria back on with us.
We could,
God, yes, please.
because the second one is good because you get Wednesday out of, she's at the camp, and that's all really good. And then you also have Joan Cusack, who's a great character. And the second one has even more campy moments, I think, with her character. So it's a good film. I think they're pretty much on par with each other, I would say.
Yeah, they're both good for different reasons, but like there isn't like a definitive example you can give for one's better than the other.
Mm-hmm. And then the third one, which was released a good few years after, doesn't have any. I don't think it does have any of the same cast. Maybe I could be wrong with that, but I remember watching it and just feeling a bit weird about it. Now we love Tim Curry, Danny.
We do.
Very close to our hearts, and he's amazing. So I would love to go back and watch that. It's been ages since I've seen that, but just it's a wee bit off for me. And then there is actually a TV show that was released in like '99 or something, which ran for 60 episodes or something like that. I don't remember this, but I think it only aired in the US, so it mustn't have been very good. But I'm interested to check that out as well. I mean, there's loads of other things. We've had the recent animated films as well, which I've seen the first one of. Is the second one out yet?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's
They're
been out
both
for a while.
Yeah.
I really liked the first one.
Yeah, I've not seen
The animation
second either.
style's similar to the original Charles Addams cartoons, and the voice acting's great. Oscar Isaac as Gomez, and I can't remember any of the other cast, but they're all good. So I would recommend that. It's okay. It's not great, but it's a fun little animated movie to watch, especially now that we've watched this. I must actually check out the sequel to it. And there is a musical, so exciting! It's coming to Belfast. It's coming to Belfast next year as well. Yeah, the Addams Family something musical. So apparently it's pretty good. It's been on the West End. It's done a UK tour before, and I'm pretty sure it's coming to the Opera House next year. So
Nice.
check it out and see it. I'm going to try and get to it. I'll see if I can, depending on the dates and stuff. But anything else you wanted to chat about the film first before we go into the end of the video? Any other scenes or anything you'd like to? I've got a fun fact actually. So this is a really fun fact, which obviously I didn't know anything about until I was doing my research. But on an episode of Scooby-Doo in 1973, the Addams Family appears in an episode of Scooby-Doo. I want to say it was like it was to help launch an animated Addams Family show. I think so. Maybe I could be wrong there, but a very famous actor voiced Pugsley Addams. I say actor; it's a female that voiced him in 1973. Does anybody want to take a guess? I know that's completely random. You could literally guess like a million
blank on names.
A million different people, but she was a child actress in the 70s, and she doesn't do a lot of work now. She is a massive actress. She's won awards and Oscars and stuff.
Wasn't Linda Blair, was it?
No, not Linda Blair. I'm trying to think.
Give us a clue.
I'll give you a clue. Sorry, I just got a skittle stuck in my throat there. Right, hang on. Let me say this. What's the clue? Right, her biggest film, where her most famous that everybody knows her from. She plays an FBI agent.
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster, what the fuck?
N1. She voiced Pugsley Addams in the 1973 Addams Family version that appeared in some episode of
Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo.
That is so random.
That's so
That's
yeah.
that's completely random, but I love
That
it.
is
And
a
I
fun
think
fact.
I actually think she did a couple of, she maybe actually did a couple of episodes. I'm not sure, but go and check it out anyway.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
Definitely look
check
into it.
out.
I haven't seen it, or I don't know if you can see it. I'm sure it's on YouTube or
I'd say
something.
it's on
but
YouTube somewhere. Yeah.
I just thought it was a cool fact to end the video on. Yeah, so thanks very much, Victoria, for coming on. It's great
Yeah,
to chat
thank
to you
you.
again. And
Thank you. It's great to talk about the Addams Family.
hopefully we'll get you on again
Mhm.
on a regular basis, and we'll
People,
get the other guys on as well.
Yeah.
People should let us know in the comments. Do they want us to talk about the Addams Family values with Victoria? Let us know.
Yeah,
down there.
and Addams Family Reunion, which is the
Mm.
third one, starring Tim Curry. We'll see. We'll see.
If the people want it.
If the people want it, we have to give them, Danny.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure we haven't had many people commenting, yes, please do this, but we've had a few, and so we will, we'll have to just bend for the people,
Give them what they want.
for our fans. So we'll wind this up. Victoria, where can people find you, and what are you working on project-wise?
If you want to follow me on socials, I'm on Instagram at @1_open_book. I also run a horror book club in Belfast. We do meetups every month. We kind of go between classics and new releases just to kind of mix it up a bit. It's very low key, like it's not an academic discussion whatsoever. One of the books we read was Interview with the Vampire, and we spent the whole time discussing why Lewis was a nonce. So that's the kind of vibe that we're going for.
So pretty
everyone-
much like our videos then,
Yeah,
just
pretty
talking
much.
shite.
Talking shite and sharing memes about whatever book we're reading that month. So
Good.
if you're into horror books and you're in the Belfast area, you're more than welcome to join us.
And
What's it called?
is there what's it called?
The Readers in the Rue Morgue, and again, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook.
Class. Daniel, it's up to you to tell our fans what they must do.
You gotta like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you get notified every time we post another Monday Night Fright, where we're joined by other guests as well as Victoria,
Yeah.
and we chat shite about horror movies and things.
Yep.
So, you want to hear that, you want to hear from us, so you may as well.
You may as well. I just do it. You may as well.
Just go on.
Why not? Why would you not
Come
do it?
on.
You're mad if you don't. So go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Fright Club NI, and go and visit the website www.thefrightclubni.com, where you can read film reviews, editorials, some that Victoria has even written. Very great articles that Victoria's written.
Thank you.
Exclusive interviews on there as well. And as always, the best way you can support us is send us loads of money. No, tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best thing. Just tell all your horror pals about us, and leave some comments on the video. That's a good segue into, because I actually wanted to give somebody a shout out on this video. Another YouTuber who is also a horror fan, called Lisa, and her channel is called Lisa Loves. She's on YouTube, and she's got she's loads of videos on YouTube, and she's been doing this for quite a while. But she came to our screening a couple of weeks ago of Poltergeist and The Thing. Unfortunately, she had to leave early, so we never really got a chat with her. But we have sort of connected on YouTube a little bit after, and she gave us a shout out on her latest video, and she bought a T-shirt and showed it off, and she didn't need to do that. So
That's really nice.
thank you very much. That was really nice. No, really, genuinely, it was. It was like, oh fuck, that's fucking sweet. And she's from Ballymena, which is fucking awesome.
Yo.
We're just outside Ballymena.
Up a
I know.
Ballymena, hey.
Ballymena, boys. So it's always good. Yeah, it's always good to sort of like get to know people that kind of handy. So hopefully we can connect with her at a screening in the future. So big shout out to Lisa Loves. That's all the time we have tonight, Danny and Victoria. I'm off to watch The Crown, the end of The Crown, with Janine, which is probably going to be a bit depressing. I might actually go and watch Addams Family Values.
Yeah, I think that's a better.
I think. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and search for that fucking episode with Jodie Foster in that random episode of Scooby-Doo that she appears in,
And then send me the
and send you all the link.
Yeah.
I'll go do all the work, and then I'll send you the link.
You're the research guy. That's your job.
Yes, I'm a researcher, of course. But yeah, that's all the shit we're talking about tonight. Go and like all the socials and all that good stuff. But until 2 weeks' time, goodbye. And please do talk about Fright Club.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, buddy. Say bye, Victoria. All right.
Bye.
We can't go until we all say goodbye.
Yeah, we all said bye.